All right, so you ready to dive in? We're tackling Scrum today. Looks like you've been on scrum.org trying to figure it all out.
It's definitely got its intricacies, that's for sure.
Totally. It can feel like a whole other language at first, all these terms. But don't worry, that's what this deep dive is for, right? We're cutting through all that jargon to get to the good stuff.
Exactly.
So the source we're using today starts with this analogy: a rugby team all huddled up. Just this scrum, right?
Right. And in a work setting, it's about bringing your team together to, really push that project forward.
Like a rugby ball. But what does that actually look like day to day?
So it's about delivering value in stages.
Mm.
Think of it like instead of building an entire house and then showing it, you build one room.
Oh, I like
You
that.
get feedback along the way. You make sure it's, going in the right direction.
That's huge. Because we've all been in those projects that just drag on. And you're like, are we even doing this right?
Mm.
The source really emphasizes how Scrum helps you avoid that whole mess. It's all about those feedback loops.
Yeah, yeah. That's where this whole empirical process comes in. You're basing your decisions on what's actually happening, not just some plan you made months ago.
It's funny you say that. I feel like people hear Scrum and just picture sticky notes everywhere.
Well, the visuals can be helpful.
There's got to be more to it than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about the team, the communication, always looking for ways to improve how you're working. It's really a mindset shift.
Okay, so let's break down the actual framework a bit. The source talks about the Scrum team, who are the main players on this team.
So you've got your product owner, the scrum master, and then the developers.
Okay, so the product owner.
Think of them as the captain of the ship,
I'm with you.
making sure everyone is aligned on building the right thing, something that's actually valuable.
They're laser focused on the user, right? What the user actually needs and wants.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the Scrum Master, they're the
They're like the coach, keeping everyone on track,
Hmm.
making sure things are running smoothly.
removing roadblocks, making sure everyone's like actually following the
Mhm.
Scrum process.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, you have the developers, the ones who actually build and design.
The ones who make it all happen.
They're the ones in the trenches
Yeah.
making the magic happen. Okay, I'm following you. Now, the source also mentioned sprints, which sounds a bit more intense than my usual weekend jog. What are we talking about when we say sprints in the Scrum world?
So basically, think of it like this. You're breaking down your work into these shorter cycles, usually a month or less.
So it's like instead of one giant project.
You have these smaller, more manageable chunks. Each one has a specific goal.
Okay, so you're constantly making progress. I like it. And then at the end of each sprint,
You've got something to show for it. You're delivering a usable piece.
you're getting that feedback. You're making sure you're on track. It's funny, reading through this source, they kept coming back to this idea of trust. Like it wasn't a technical thing, but they really emphasized it. Important part of all this, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It's foundational, really. You can't have a high-performing Scrum team without that trust.
Right, because you're moving so fast, you have to be able to rely on each other, speak up when something's off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, the source talks about those Scrum values. It all ties in. Courage, focus, commitment, respect, openness. Those aren't just, nice-sounding words.
They're actually put into practice, right?
Yeah. They create the environment where a team can actually thrive.
So give me an example. Let's take courage. What does that actually look like in the day-to-day of a Scrum team?
It means you're not afraid to share your opinion, even if it goes against the grain. You can challenge ideas. You feel safe to say, hey, I think there's a better way to do this.
So it's not just about following the leader. Everyone has a voice.
Exactly. And focus, too.
Okay.
I mean, these days, it's so easy to get pulled in a million directions.
Tell me about it.
But a Scrum team, they've got to maintain their focus on that sprint goal, whatever it is they're working towards.
I'm starting to realize these values, they go beyond just work, don't they? I mean, this is good stuff for any team. Heck, even just for life in general.
100%. Collaboration, communication, respect. These are universal principles.
Right. Like, it doesn't matter if you're building an app or, planning a family vacation.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the Scrum team, we've got the sprints, this emphasis on trust and these core values. The source also mentioned professional Scrum. What's that all about? Is that like Scrum 2.0?
It's more about, going beyond just the mechanics of it. You can learn the rules of a game,
Right.
but that doesn't make you a great player.
It's about really understanding the strategy, the nuances.
Exactly. It's about embodying those Scrum values,
Yeah.
really living them,
Hmm.
not just going through the motions.
Yeah.
That's what professional Scrum is all about.
Embracing that transparency, always looking for ways to get better.
Right. Yeah.
It's like anyone can learn the steps to a dance, but it's about feeling the music. It's like you're not just like checking boxes. You're really building a way of working together.
Mm.
Makes you adaptable. And that's got to be so key no matter what you're doing these days.
Ah, without a doubt. I mean, think about it. Things change so quickly.
All the
You
time.
got to be able to adapt, learn from what's happening, always be improving.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that.
You're already behind. What I like about this whole deep dive, it's not just about here's the Scrum rule book, memorize it. It's about the why.
Right. The values, the principles,
Yeah.
the mindset, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like it's more than just getting stuff done.
It's about giving teams the power to build the right thing,
Yeah.
to solve tough problems together, to handle whatever gets thrown their way.
And to be okay with things changing along the way.
Exactly.
So for someone listening to all this, maybe feeling like, whoa, that's a lot, what's the one thing you want them to remember about Scrum?
That it's all about getting better every
Wow.
step of the way by working together, being open and honest, and being ready for anything.
Love it. So it's not just about doing Scrum by the book, it's about really taking those ideas to heart. Agility, learning as you go, that's what it's all about.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Well, on that note, happy Scrumming, everyone.